day, brand new stimuli, brand new places, brand new people, brand new things, and we're bored. So clearly, it's not about the presence or absence of a job, a place, a person. It's all about what's going on internally. I'll give you an example. Raise your hand if you've ever been in love. Doesn't have to be a romantic love. Could have been with your mom or your dad, your child, your kitty cat, your puppy dog. Could have been anything. Anybody in love. Okay. So everybody. How does spending the day on your couch with your loved one sound? Huh? Good. Okay. Anybody have any other thoughts? How does it sound? Spending the day, think of whoever that being is that you've loved. Sitting on the couch, no TV, no music, no going out, no doing anything, no games, just you on the couch and the loved one. How does that sound? Good, lots of goods. Anything else? Does anybody think it sounds boring? So not even one. Now, isn't that interesting? Because here we are, not doing anything, but I'm not bored. And on the flip side, I could be doing 100 things, meeting 100 different people, going 100 places, and I'm bored. What's the difference? Love. The presence of the loved one. This is the key. When I'm able to experience in myself the truth of who I am, the presence of the divine within me, it is an experience of love. I could be anywhere, doing anything with anyone, but I'm never going to be bored because I'm carrying that loved one with me. In fact, I'll tell you a personal story. When I had been back, I was back in America visiting my parents after I had been in India maybe, I don't remember exactly, but not that long at all, less than a year probably. So it was brand new. My mom says to me, "Your dad wants to go to dinner and a movie tonight." So my dad and I have always been very close, and my mom knows that. And she knows that the best way to get me to do anything is to say, "Your dad wants you to do it." So I was already not eating food from restaurants. I wasn't doing any of that. But she said, "Dad wants you for all of us to go dinner and a movie." So I said, "Let's do one thing. Let's go for dinner." I was thinking I can always have salad, I can have fruit, I can have a piece of bread, something like that. I said, "Let's go to dinner, but we'll take 2 cars. After dinner, you go to the movies, I'll go home." She says, no, it's really important to your dad that you also come to the movies." Now my dad is, other than my guru, Puja Swamiji, he is the most easygoing person I know. So I knew there was no way that it actually mattered to my dad, but what it meant was it mattered to my mom. So I said, "Okay, let's do this. We'll go to the movies together. I'll bring my laptop. I'll sit in the lobby, and I'll get some work done while you guys watch the movie." So she says, no, it's really important to your dad that you are also watching the movie. And I said, "Look," I said, "I will give you 2 hours of my life. That is not the question. You have given me so much of your life. 2 hours, I can sit there, I can watch a movie. I mean, they're my parents. They're not going to take me to some bloody, gory, violent sex, something that would be disturbing to the senses. It would have been something nice. So I said, I'll give you 2 hours of my life. I said, but you have to know, I'm going for you, not for me. Like, don't get it into your minds that you're actually doing me a favor, taking me to something I'm going to enjoy. So she said, why don't you want to go to the movies? What is the problem with the movies? And I said, look, I would rather stay at home and stare at a blank wall for 2 hours than go to the movies. And she said, but I don't understand. That doesn't make any sense. And here's what I told her, and this brings us to that boredom issue. I said, when I'm staring at a blank wall, I can meditate, I can pray, I can do my japa, I can make plans for projects, I can do so much that I really, really enjoy doing and fills me with such joy. I said, but my meditation is not yet good enough. That if you stick me in a dark movie theater and you play a movie in front of me, that I'm going to be able to keep meditating. I will get lost in the plot of this movie. And then those 2 hours are gone from my life. And I share this story with you because when you have that connection inside, staring at a blank wall is actually very exciting. Because it gives you the space to be able to be with that loved one on the inside without unnecessary stimuli interfering. So you would actually rather stare at a blank wall than watch a movie. So if you find yourself getting bored in life, it's a really good indication. Not that you need to change places or jobs or relationships or people, but that you need to strengthen inside yourself that relationship with the divine within. Because when that is there, you could be sitting in a cave alone. You could be sitting staring at a blank wall. You could be with the same people, doing the same thing, eating the same food, and you'd never be bored. Because that excitement wouldn't come from outside, it would be coming from inside. And that's where it's such a great indicator. When you're bored, it means sit still. When you're bored, it means don't move anywhere. Stay right there. Go within and face whatever it is that's there. The other last piece of that that's really important is sometimes boredom comes up as a defense mechanism. So I'm meditating, and instead of the beautiful experiences in meditation, boredom arises. This is boring, nothing is happening, I've got so much to do, so many other opportunities, I should stand up and do them. This is a defense mechanism. This is the ego not wanting to look at what is actually coming up in my meditation. So if you find in your life that you are bored, it means you are ignoring, denying, pushing away something that is coming up from within when you are still. And it's that call that says, give me something more, give me something interesting, give me something good so that I don't have to look at what's going on inside. It's that let me keep scrolling through Facebook until I find something interesting. Let me keep changing the channels on the TV. Let me find someone, anyone who wants to go and hang out tonight. Let me do anything other than sit with the silence of myself. And so the only real antidote to boredom is sit still, stay put, and go within. Before taking any of the other questions that came in advance, I'm happy to open it up to any questions that anyone here might have, if there are any. Yes.
Thank you, Sadhviji. Sadhu Pranam. My name is Mona. I came from Delhi. Here I am representing people living with HIV. Since
Wonderful.
I'm also living with HIV since 20 years and working in this field. Sometimes it's very difficult, as you said, like, yes, boredom has come, but when we want to sit back alone and within ourselves, then so many things like comes in the mind, because I don't know, when we like, I personally want to stop the thoughts and
Yes.
to be become in zero thought, but it's very difficult, like automatically so many things which we are doing in our day-to-day work, it comes automatically. How we can reduce that?
So, living with HIV, obviously on one level, is extraordinarily tragic. It's like living with any terminal illness. On the other hand, the truth is we all have a terminal illness. It's called life. If you think about it, life is a terminal illness. Most of us spend many very good years symptom-free, feel strong and healthy, but at some point in life, the disease starts to blossom, typically when we get older. Slowly, part by part of us starts to fail. And whether it happens in our 80s, in our 90s, at 100, earlier than that, if we don't take good care of ourselves. But whatever age we are when it happens, every single one of us has the terminal illness called life. Every one of our conditions is going to end in death. And so, whether you're living with HIV or living with any one of so many other diseases, illnesses that are going to eventually end in death, including simply living with life, which is going to end in death. In that way, we actually are all in the same boat. The difference is that it's much harder for you to forget that. People without a terminal diagnosis are able to live most of their lives forgetting that this all ends in death. People with HIV don't usually have the luxury of forgetting that. There's that thing hanging over them every day. Is this a sign of full-blown AIDS? Is this a sign of full-blown AIDS? Is this a sign? What's going to happen when it comes? Is it going to come? And in a way, it's actually a blessing. And what I mean by that is, every hour of your life, you know, is a blessing. Because you know it could be a matter of hours before a symptom comes that the doctors say, oh, I'm so sorry, this is now full-blown AIDS. Whereas the rest of us are moving through our lives in this illusion called invincibility. And we think that everything is great. We can just keep going like this forever. And yes, some of us in this room are going to live to 90 or over 100. Many of us won't. By this time next year, some of us who thought we were in great health right now may not be here. It could be an illness, it could be a car accident, it could be anything. But the awareness of death is actually an extraordinary thing to meditate upon. And what I would say is, when these thoughts come, when just nonsense monkey mind thoughts come, for most of us, the teaching is bring the awareness back to the breath, bring it back to the mantra. For you, I would say, bring it back to the presence of death. Because all of these small little nothing things that fill most of our minds won't exist anymore when some doctor says to us, you've got a month to live, or you've got 6 months to live. And whether it's heart disease or diabetes or cancer or AIDS or some other one of dozens of obscure illnesses, suddenly the nonsense in the mind tends to dissipate. And there's pretty much one thing in the mind, which is, oh my God, I'm going to die. And that presence of, oh my God, I'm going to die, is this power that burns through all of the other nonsense. I mean, think about how much unnecessary stuff, ego, greed, jealousy, competition, judgments, complaints, fill most of our minds most of the time. This isn't fair, that isn't fair, why did this one this, why that one this, who do they think they are, don't they know who I am, why is this like this, whatever it may be. But in the presence of death, none of that matters. Allow yourself, when your mind is all over the place, to remember, really, there but for the grace of God go I. It is your grace that I have woken up this morning. It is your grace that my legs carry me into the bathroom. It is your grace that my hands are working, my arms are working, my eyes are working. It is your grace that I have health in my body. Let that become the single pointed focus. As the mind wanders, just bring it back to that awareness. Any day, any minute, death could be there. And that, of course, is true for every single one of us. I just think it will be easier for you to access that. Because living with HIV is something that we know in our mind, my God, this is terminal. And so whether you live with it for 3 years, 30 years, 90 years, science, modern medicine is extraordinary. But a day will come, just like a day will come for every one of us. So as the mind wanders, just bring it back. It is your grace. Bring it back to gratitude. Bring it back to the body, this extraordinary body that is continuing to move, continuing to put one foot in front of the other, continuing to breathe, continuing to be healthy. And I think that in and of itself will bring about a focus and a stillness. You know, in the Arati ceremonies, a lot of the time, if you look downriver, it's the cremation ground for Rishikesh. And a lot of times, not so much now in the winter time where there's fewer people, but especially in the summer where it's just packed full of people and Char Dham Yatris and everybody, there'll be fires going on there. Sometimes 2, 3 of them. And in the Arati ceremony, you'll be standing here singing and dancing and rejoicing and celebrating. And you'll look down and you'll see a cremation fire going on. And I always try, usually I keep my eyes closed and just get lost in the ecstasy of it. But whenever I see one of those fires, I always try to keep my eyes open and meditate into that fire and try to have an experience of being simultaneously the one who is here celebrating and singing and rejoicing, and the one over there who is standing next to the fire mourning their loved one. And then being the one in the flames. Because that experience is a deeply true part of every one of our lives. This time-space continuum is not nearly as linear as most of us experience it as. And of course, today, quantum physicists are telling us the same thing that rishis and saints and sages have been saying for thousands of years. And so on one level, it's all happening at the same time. And can you experience the life, the health, the joy, the celebration, and being the one who's turning to ash? And simply the attempt to hold both of those experiences simultaneously in your awareness is such a powerful meditation that there isn't any space for random thoughts. There isn't any space for the mind to be jumping around. And so see if you can give yourself that experience. Because if you've been able to meditate on it from now, you'll be much more prepared when that day comes. Whether it's 30 years down the line, 60 years down the line, whenever it is, you'll already have that experience of having that as part of you. We'll close satsang a little bit more abbreviated tonight because we have a very special dance performance by a beautiful group that has come in from